so excited about grief, love, and Tikka Masala.
Yes, and before we get started, I really need to just take a moment to thank my incredible co-host, Nisha, who really was the muscle and heart behind this event. I am so appreciative to her, and also to George for doing continuously through all the seasons, giving us wonderful advice and video, and to our producer, who you might see around, who is truly the inspiration of the podcast, Dahlia. This podcast only exists because Dahlia encouraged us. And to create something not just from my own sheer will, but to have someone coach me and give me feedback and recognize our voices as important has just been so powerful. So thank you, Dahlia.
Yay. And of course, thank you to Ra for this incredible space that, while we would have loved to have done all this decoration, it is not our doing. It is all Ra's doing, and it's just such a beautiful, ideal space for this. And we're just, we're really grateful and happy to be here, and so grateful for you all to come out and spend your time with us.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you to everyone for being here.
All right.
Okay. So
do we need to clap, Dahlia?
Let's clap.
Okay.
This is what we do when we're really going to record one, okay? So you guys are going to see it in the real life.
Both of us, right?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
Welcome to Earthworm Slumber Party,
where we're exploring big ideas playfully.
My name is Nisha, and I have a dad joke.
Okay, lay it on me.
What kind of car do eggs drive?
A shell top.
Good one. A Yolkswagon.
Okay, that was silly.
Yeah.
My name is Opulence, and I also have a joke. Are you ready?
Yes.
What do you call a ship with 2 mates and no captain?
I don't know.
Friendship.
Aww. I love it.
Okay, Nisha, what are you composting today?
Today, as the earthworm that I am composting perimenopause.
Say more.
It has been rough. Not only am I forgetting very simple things that I feel that I shouldn't forget. Even this weekend, I feel like it hit me really hard. I had my period last week, and usually the week of my period, things aren't as intense because I am in birth control, but I have, I don't know if you want to call it depression or just apathy, where I just don't feel much. I know that I care about something, I know this is happening today, this is exciting, you all are here, this is wonderful, but I don't always feel it. And it's honestly not something I'd wish on anybody, because I'd almost rather, I cried this weekend, which felt great. That felt great to just have a type of emotion. So I think that emotional part is one of the hardest things, and then the kind of brain fog cognitive stuff is not fun, but I feel like I can have some compensatory strategies for that. But it's rough, and I don't think who talks about perimenopause? We barely ever hear about perimenopause. We hear about menopause sometimes, but so I am composting it. Not to, I can't get rid of it. I wish I could. But just more to see this as something that isn't a problem, but what I am going through in my body, and something to nurture and care for, and which includes taking more naps when I need to and not fighting my body. And I think in such a capitalistic world that's so productivity based, I just want to push through and be no, it's okay, I could stay up, or I'll just have some coffee or whatever it is. But I just needed a nap after I had my big cry session. I was I'm tired. I took a nap and I just felt like a totally different person afterwards. So composting that and taking naps.
I really celebrate your authenticity, Nisha, and your self-honesty. I think it takes a lot of courage to admit that, to not just fake that you feel something, but to actually acknowledge that you aren't feeling anything. And to sit with that. And I was learning that menopause is actually only one day, technically. That you're in perimenopause, and then you go through menopause in one day. And then you're postmenopausal.
So it's interesting that you say that, because there's this documentary called The M Factor. It's on PBS if anyone wants to watch it. And it's all about menopause, and what they actually say is that when you are in menopause, you actually are in menopause for the rest of your life.
Oh, interesting.
That postmenopausal is actually like...
that's menopause.
Yeah, it is menopause. You're in menopause because you're not getting your period, right? So I guess you could think about it both ways.
Well, okay, I learned that from an Australian podcast.
Oh, okay. That explains it.
Maybe it's different in Australia. Like, the water goes the other way.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Maybe in Australia you're menopausal until you're not.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Down under, who knows what happens there?
Who knows what happens?
Yeah.
But I really relate. And
I'd love to know what you're composting.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I relate to crying. I have this healer friend who always, whenever somebody cries, they say, thanks for bringing the water. So thank you for bringing the water, Nisha. I think we needed it for this event. And I've been bringing the water quite a lot recently. And prior to this weekend, I only let myself cry when I was out dancing in the club. I actually had a conversation with a friend, and they were like holding my hand. They were looking me in the eye. They were like trying to get me to cry in front of them. And I said, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm saving that for Saturday night. But this weekend, things took a turn, and now I feel a water really alive within me and close to the surface. So this weekend, I had planned to celebrate my 34th birthday, a camping trip extravaganza. And I called it Pleasure Fest. And it suited that we're in Pleasure Studios.
Yes.
This was like the finale. This is supposed to be the finale of Pleasure Fest. And Pleasure Fest involved beloved friends flying from all over the U.S. and us driving to this beloved river in Ojai that I have been going to for the past 5 years. And this river is actually where, if you listen to our first episode of season 2, I share about coming into my spiritual gifts and meeting a rattlesnake at the river. That's actually the same river we went to this weekend. Another time in 2021, I went to this river with friends for my birthday, and we met a bear by the river. This weekend, celebrating my 34th birthday, which I turned 34 on a full Scorpio moon, I met a white supremacist by the river. And I was 2 days into my 4-day camping trip. And unfortunately, me and my crew of 13 beautiful brown and black, queer and trans people, we were targeted by this white supremacist and actually by the campsite hosts. And we were forced off the campsite. And we were told that if we stayed on the campsite, we would be arrested for trespassing and indecent exposure. And I'm so grateful to my crew of friends and their many skills and all the skills we've built over the years and all the wisdom, the valuing of wisdom, the clarity to know that we can't trust the state, to know that we have to protect ourselves, because me and my friends, despite the state wanting to trap us, wanting to humiliate us, make us miserable, we stayed laughing the whole time, even as we were forced away from nature, from the land, from the river. For me, it was a very emotional moment because just 30 minutes to learning that we had to leave, I was deeply reconnecting with the river, because I identify, more than coming from a land or having a homeland, my home is the river. My family is from the eastern banks of the Indus River. My grandmother and my family on both sides was displaced by the British partition and was forced to walk to a new home, to walk away from a river. As I was walking through this river, realizing that I wasn't going to get to spend the afternoon playing in it, and I actually had to leave, and that actually police were looking for us. You know, there was a couple times we tried to get up to the road from the river, and these people were like, don't come through our campsite. And I was like, oh, you own the campsite, and we're not allowed on it. Okay, so I really am only safe in the river. And I also can't stay with the river. Who I was realizing, I was like talking to the river. I was like, this river is my grandmother. I belong here. I was looking at the river rocks, and I was like, look at those manatees. And I just like wanted nothing more than to play all day. And the pain of being ripped away from a grandmother too soon, it just really hit me deep. So that happened 2 days ago. It brought me so much clarity, and I'm composting any illusion I had about the war we're in. And I really see it as a war where you get to choose what side you're on. And maybe if I'm honest, maybe I go back and forth sometimes, because I do participate in capitalism. I do things I'm not proud of. But it's like the war on nature, the war on earth, the war on our bodies, the war on our relationship to nature, it's a real war. And when we connect deeply to nature, when we recognize nature as our mother, nothing scares the state more. And I was reflecting this week how, like, you know, people take medicine, people take drugs, they party, they want to heal. But when we're healed by medicine, by earth medicine, it becomes our duty not just to heal others, but to advocate for the medicine and to advocate for the earth. So I've been sitting with all of these things. And what I was plotting with the river was how I was going to advocate for her. And I think the state felt it energetically. And they came down on us pretty hard. And so I'm just clear that there's a war happening. And I'm clear about what side I'm on, you know, and I invite everyone that if you do identify as someone who seeks to be relational, who seeks to be in relationship with Earth, who doesn't want to feed oppression, that we actively start to build new strategies, build new infrastructure, delete the Amazon account, you know, get on Signal and take it seriously and stand up for each other. Because part of what was painful and something I did that was a little dramatic was, you know, we have to pack up our campsite. We have to go. Everyone's like, you have to get out of here. You guys are terrorizing us. You're so dangerous, you faggy queers. So we were trying to pack up all these tents, figure it all out. My friend asked me to go to the bathroom with them. And next door to us was a group of families that were really sweet to us. They let us know that the cops had come to our campsite, had gone through our stuff, and had interviewed them. And they said that they told the cops we were so nice and polite. They didn't have issues with us. And it was funny because the cops were like throwing us out because we were naked. And I'm like, there's naked babies everywhere, guys. Like, are you going to incarcerate them? And the answer is no, which is good. But the hypocrisy, you know. So anyways, I just started, this family's like having a barbecue as we're like being harassed and having to pack stuff up. And I just sat in front of their campground and sobbed. And to me, that felt very cathartic and powerful. And they did talk with us, and they were sorry. But there was a part of me that was like, you see how unfair this is. You see 14 Black and brown, queer, and trans people, probably like the sweetest angels on earth, being forced to leave, and you're just gonna keep barbecuing? You're not gonna leave with us? You're not gonna organize? You're not gonna stand around us? What if they had chosen to form a chain around our camp? Like, what if they've chosen to hold space with us? So I'm really grieving that, honestly. And I'm composting any illusion or any part of me that was denying that we're in a war. And I know that's pretty heavy, but it does link in with what we're talking about today, which I think you and I often, we aim to be playful as we acknowledge the grief we're living through and what it means for us to be people deeply impacted by colonization and war and genocide. But I'm excited today that we get to talk about those things through the lens of one of my favorite things, food, and more specifically, cheese. Are Are you excited to talk about cheese, Nisha?
I am. I mean, why do you think we provided 2 out of our 3 options to have paneer in them? I mean,
but we didn't get any lactate, and that was not culturally informed of us. We invited a bunch of Asians here, no lactate.
Sorry. I mean, it's so exciting for us to record live with an audience here to talk about food, and yes, to talk about cheese. And one of the things when Opulence and I were talking about this episode, I was like, I'm Gujarati, Opulence is Punjabi. I'm like, when you go to an Indian restaurant, is that any of the stuff you actually ate when you grew up?
No, real question.
Yeah, and because I was like, well, usually quote unquote Indian food is for the most part Punjabi foods, and I'm like, okay, Opulence is Punjabi. Like, is it? And what did you say?
Well, guys, okay, I grew up with a mom that made just like the healthiest food. Like, my mom likes to brag. She's like, I didn't use any butter in this. And as a tourist, I'm like, but like, could you? She's always like, I used all water. And I'm like, but like, what if there was butter?
Yeah.
But I think I grew up just eating like lentils and a roasted vegetable, which we call like dal, sabji, right? Usually a rice or a roti, never both. That's like how my family is. So when I went to an Indian wedding for the first time, I remember it clearly. I remember the first time I tasted ras malai. I was like, what is this? This is so magical.
Oh my God.
And I remember the creamy gravies. My mom would never. My mom actively complains about it. My mom's like, this is so heavy, I can't eat this. And I'm like, yeah, me neither. Eating it all. What's your first memory of tikka masala?
So tikka masala, I don't know if I have a clear memory, but I do have clear memories of going to I grew up in Chicago, and the Indian area, or South Asian area, I should say, because there were a lot of Pakistani restaurants there as well, was called Devon Street. And that was before, I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago. That was before there were like a lot of, South Asian restaurants in the Chicagoland area. But in my neighborhood, there was this place called India House. And I would say that that's my more like conscious memory of having Indian food in a restaurant, and I was just so excited for all the cream and the cheese and all the stuff that was like really not in Gujarati food. I mean, Gujarati food, my mom also, like, I would say she cooks relatively healthy. I mean, she does use butter and she does use her ghee and stuff like that, but it was always the last 2 rotis were without ghee, because those were for her. Because whenever we'd roll them together and I'd help her cook them, she would have the ones without ghee.
Oh.
I know. And now I actually feel like I just realized I have grief about that for her, because she was missing out on all the ghee. Yeah, it is really sad, actually. Wow.
Let's take a breath for your mom,
yeah,
actually.
Can we?
Yeah.
Aww.
I really relate to that grief because my mom, which I wonder if there are other people who have moms like this, my mom is shrinking, like she's losing bone mass. And I actually think it's because of a lack of nourishment, honestly.
Yeah.
And my mom, because she's losing bone mass, has to get like a shot to strengthen her bone. And that shot takes her kidneys out of balance.
Oh, wow.
And as a result, she can no longer eat her dal roti, her favorite food. She can't eat dal anymore. She can't have too much protein.
Wow.
And so she went from having like the most almond mom whole wheat existence, and now she can only eat like white bread.
Wow.
I know, she has to eat junk food.
Is she grieving this, or how's that working out for her?
It's interesting because me and my cousins were in denial, and we were like, dal's your favorite food, as twisted as that is. Like, are you okay? And we're like, this must be wrong. You need to go to the doctor. Like, they're doing something wrong. Like, how can you not eat protein? But my mom was like, no, it's right. And she told me she felt her body out of balance. So she is just accepting. And I think you know what? She started making naan instead of roti. Oh. And she's
it's
really
more white, like
it's
flour,
white flour. Yeah. She's showing me that you will rediscover what you love throughout your life, and that sometimes you just have to accept it and find a new way forward.
So she's reinventing her own diet for herself. Actually, it's interesting you said that she has made her naan, because my mom is an amazing cook, and she has experimented our whole lives with so many different types of food. Mm-hmm. But the one thing I realized she'd never made until she did this a couple months ago in the year 2025, she actually made naan off of a YouTube video. My mom is obsessed with these Indian cooking channels on YouTube. And which, now my mom can't even go to sleep without watching YouTube. She claims to me. I'm like, we never had YouTube. What are you talking about? It's wild how she's like, I'm just gonna, forget it. If I don't watch it, then I'm just gonna watch it anyways, because I have to watch it to go to sleep. And I'm just like, what has happened to you? I have no idea.
Thank goodness you got her a pro account.
I did. We got her the YouTube premium account because of the ads.
Imagine her going to sleep to those ads. I can't.
I know. It was like TurboTax and like all these like ads. And I'm just like, you should be listening to a naan recipe and then thinking about paying your taxes. It was
no, that's terrible.
It was ridiculous. So, yeah, she actually made naan for me for the first time. She's like, I want to try this. It was okay. And I literally...
Nisha, I don't believe you.
I know. I almost feel bad. Like, I feel like her energy on me. Like, because she's such an amazing cook. My mom could literally, like, cook anything. But I was like, this was okay. And she's like, yeah. I mean, she actually won't be insulted. Could be very honest with herself. She's like, yeah, this wasn't that great. And, I was like, you tried. You did what you could. But it was not that great. I never complained. I was just like, yeah, it's all right.
I
like,
celebrate.
We know what naan tastes like.
we all know what it tastes like. But at least she's trying to make it fresh. Yeah, she didn't just grab a pack from Trader Joe's.
Yes.
I appreciate our moms for showing us that old dogs can learn new tricks.
Maybe new dogs can too.
Yeah, I think both.
Is that us?
I'm a mid-sized dog. I think okay. mid-age. I do have to say, I always tell that to my dad. I'm like, I know they say old dogs can't learn new tricks, but your children are here to force you to try.
That's true. Try. There's some accountability there.
I'm here to drag you into the future, and I'm your child, so I could ask you. But very interesting. As we talk about all this, and we even talk about like things like the Trader Joe's Indian section. Some of what it is to have your people's food be something that other people are like, oh, I love Indian food. And it's like, oh, you mean like the cream-based buffet that is nothing like what I eat at home? I think it's so interesting when we looked at the dish of tikka masala. I had always heard that tikka masala was created when the British came to India and tasted our curries and couldn't digest it because it's too spicy, and literally dumped cream in it. And when I heard that, I had an identity crisis, because at that time I was going to the Indian buffet weekly and bulk buying tikka masala and eating it out of like 2 out of every 3 meals. And I was also a young feminist, and I was like decolonizing. So I was like, wait, what? Like, I can't keep eating this, or like this has colonizer origins. And I felt so conflicted to love something so much but realize that it was created in a way that I hated. But for this podcast, I did a little more research, and I learned that actually it seems like the history is controversial, and some people assert that actually in different parts of the South Asian diaspora, tikka masala is not connected to colonialism but part of our people's food. And to me, it uplifted something interesting, which is, what do we label as other? What do we label as colonizer? And in doing so, how do we perpetuate Hindu/Indian supremacy? And how do we further other or homogenize or monopolize what is Indian and what is not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when you said Hindu-Indian supremacy, it also made me think about how much it assimilates to, like, British, to whiteness.
Yeah.
Like if that's what they did or didn't do, or we just don't know the difference, what does that actually mean? You know what I mean? If we actually don't know, we can't separate ourselves from this history of colonialism. Mm-hmm. And there's grief around that, around not knowing, around that even being a possibility. And Yeah, I had no idea personally until Opulence told me that I want to talk about the colonization of Tikka Masala, and I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I have no idea it's colonized. I mean, if anything, the thing that sticks out to me about Indian food is curry, because what the hell is curry, right? Like, I think about curry, I think about Thai curry, but I don't actually, when people would make fun of me when I was like in grade school, like about smelling like curry or whatever, I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, what is that,
Yeah.
And so to me, that was kind of more of a colonial, like a very obvious colonial manufactured concept because I think it's just like a mix of spices, but like that's just not what I even learned about growing up. I don't know about you.
So interesting. Well, interesting because my mom has a curry plant. And so that always confuses me too.
Yeah,
we do have curry leaves, but I think like growing up in South Carolina, I spent a lot of my childhood trying to understand the difference between my culture and Native people. And I think like nobody explained it to me. So I was just like, I know I'm not that Indian, but like I don't really get it. And then when I realized that the reason like indigenous people to the Americas are called Indians is because of Christopher Columbus, I was like so mad about the power and how it's perpetuated. But yeah, I hear you that like, yeah, curry is not like a thing my mom would make. Like that's just it's just a label.
Yeah, and it even makes me wonder, like I'm not Thai, nor do I know that many people who are Thai to ask, but is Thai curry actually curry? Like who made up this word? I have no idea. Because my mom also had the curry leaves too, but that's like just a leaf that you use in like a mix of spices. Yeah. So yeah, just all these things that other people are labeling toward South Asians when I don't even know what they're talking about, which is, I feel like almost like it's like a form of gaslighting, it felt like.
It's a form of gaslighting, and I also see when we talk about homogenous, like being homogenized, everything turning into the same. I think of the monocrop, like how we're meant to have gardens of many different plants and flowers, and what it means when all our food is just seen as one spicy soup instead of like very beautiful curated spice blends. This weekend I was grieving for all the food I'll never taste because of colonization. Like the special recipes, the spices, the vegetables that have gone extinct. Like, I don't know, just a moment for food we'll never eat.
Yeah. I remember I read this book years ago about... it specifically talked about corn and how what we have as corn today, just like the yellow corn on the cob, like most of the time it was like super colorful and like more fibrous and all this stuff. And I think definitely like because of like agriculture and like monocropping and everything, it's really completely changed where the corn that we eat now has nothing to do with what it used to actually be. And I grieve for that corn that we never really or we don't really have easy access to because it's been erased. Or I don't even know if, certain things, like you said, like they may have gone extinct.
No, it's so true. I do give thanks that we're in LA and there is a lot of beautiful people growing special stained glass, pink and purple, yellow, gorgeous corn. And I think that is like a seed I'm planting, is like, I think as we turn our attention to our grief, it can kind of reveal what we love and what we want to breathe life into and what we want to call back into being.
Yeah.
But yeah, what seed are you planting from this conversation, Nisha?
Yes, I think the seed that I'm planting from this amazing conversation is I'm planting the seed of, I don't know, this doesn't sound so cliche. Should I do it?
Yeah, lay it on me.
I'm honestly planting the seed of love. We're talking about grief and
Nisha.
love. And I think that, there is so much grief around all this, but the reason we called this season Grief and Love was because we saw that relationship between them. Almost like a certain kind of reciprocity or feedback mechanism between grief and love and how they're both so important in all the topics that we talked about this season. Last, I think, one of them was about power dynamics, the grief and love around that. We had grief, love, and cheese, of course. We always have a cheese episode. So just thinking about how those two concepts go together. And I mean, I'm not sure, some of you may have heard of this quote, but just about how grief is love that has nowhere to go, and how there's such like a relationship. And I almost like can visualize like a ball of grief and like the love just like right next to it, trying to like be juxtaposed with it and trying to connect to it. And I think it is connected. It's just connected differently. And I would like to see it as not two different parts, but part of a whole that just has different designs for all of us for different things. They will never look the same. So I really want to plant that love especially for our last episode together.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. It does remind me that I heard this powerful story about how we're meant to cry to God to awaken God's love. And the storyteller was talking about how birds cry in order to be fed, that crying awakens the earth's instinct to feed us. And it's kind of like, wow, we have to cry out to awaken that love. And I just wanted to name crying because I know we're both in the waters.
Yes.
I have to say this weekend, it went so different than what I anticipated. But when I sat with, like, once I grieved and let go of what I thought was supposed to happen, accepted what is happening, that outpouring of love and support, as I'm in these pits of grief, it is just so intertwined. And it's one of those moments where it's like, oh, I kind of had to feel the grief to receive all this love.
Yeah. I feel so personally fed and nourished right now, not just by doing this with you, as I always love doing, but to be in a room with our friends and loved ones who support us so much and took their time on a Monday night to come here and to witness us as we close out our second season.
Yeah, thank you everyone again for being here.
Thank you so much. And we have an announcement before we're gonna ask you if you have any questions.
Or comments. We want to
questions,
hear from
comments,
you. Thanks for
reflections.
listening to us talk so much.
Yes. We did have an announcement that our next season, our plan is to bring...
The season of the third, we're swingers.
Yes, we are swinging, because Earthrooms are swingers, if you didn't know.
Okay, we're inviting in a third guest for each episode. So if you would want to be in conversation with us, hit us up. We would love to include you in our future season.
Yeah. Exciting. Now we will turn it to you if anyone has anything to share. Thank you for listening. Any comments, questions? I think we can...
Do we turn these off?
We can take, if anyone wants them. Oh, wait.
Camera went down for a second, so can you end it again?
Oh, sure.
Wait, where do we start?
Where should we start?
Just as you were wrapping up. I don't know where. Sorry, I was... Okay, you're good.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys.
Okay, cool. Okay, so now...
Wait, let's all clap for a second. Let's just clap to end this out.
Cool.
Yay! We have to clap.
Yeah, that was such a Leo rising thing. We're like, clap for us.
No, it
Look at
was.
us and clap right now.
But does anyone want to add to our conversation at all?
And could we pass the mic around? Is that what we should do? If anyone has any questions, should we pass the mic around?
This one is...
Yeah?
We'll give you a mic.
Oops.
You should have some mic. Yeah.
Hi, guys.
Hi. Hi. Oh, there we go. Here.
Thank you, Dahlia.
This was so special, and I really enjoyed being in energy and company with both of you. Just hearing you pour your hearts out with love and sadness and all the emotions that we bottle up. So thank you.
Wow, an earthquake.
I mean, that was powerful.
Yeah.
I only actually have a comment. I think when you said when we cry, it's a message for Earth to really receive us and feed our souls. That really hit home for me in December. I had a really massive breakthrough, which Nisha was such a big part of and supported me. And I couldn't even function like when someone said, "Hi, how are you?" I would pour out crying. And if you know anything about me, I'm like a strong, independent woman who has no problems. But of course, that's not true. I just hide it behind a lot of folds. Yes, I'm a Virgo. So I really loved that. And I think what ended up coming up for me is every time we think we are breaking down, we're actually breaking through. And so thank you for highlighting that.
Thank you. Yay. Anyone else?
Yay.
Move over. Hi, this was really fun.
Yay.
First of all, count me in for season 3 guest. I feel
So
like we would have
excited.
such a fun conversation about many things. You know, I am researching wedding traditions right now, and it's so interesting to think about what is pre-colonial versus post-colonial in our imaginations, and then doing the research and thinking about your butter chicken story. So like, you know, I grew up in the largest Desi community in the United States, in New Jersey and New York City. And so I grew up going to like a gazillion Desi weddings, specifically Hindu weddings. Marigolds are everywhere, right? Like the Desis in the room, you think about marigold as a Desi flower. Yes, 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 yes. Did you know it's not indigenous to South Asia at all? It's from the Americas. And so like when I have not done the research around tracing it, but I'm just naming that to say, you know, I love flowers, and flowers are such a part of Desi culture. And I think we think of it as like such an indigenous part of our culture. But sometimes some of the exchange that happened, whether it was forced or through chosen trade, ends up being really beautiful too. So I just wanted to offer that.
No, thank you. That really makes me think about like, what is ours, quote unquote? What do we claim? What do we become protective or entitled of? And more recently, I've really been meditating on the relationship between rape culture and ownership. Like, what does ownership set us up for? But it's so fascinating. And it actually makes a lot of sense to me. Because every Day of the Dead, I'm like, what's going on here? How did this flower, what's up with this flower? It's in a lot of places, you know? Yeah, any other questions, comments, ideas?
I have no clue what's going to come out, but it has to do with food.
Okay, good.
One thing that I was thinking about, maybe as an offering to the grief you were saying that you were going to feel about the foods you were never going to try. You could eat South Asian dishes across all of the South Asian areas of the world and eat something new every day and still never run out of something new to try. And I think that that's a really beautiful thing. And then also thinking about food and how food has history in itself. Even so many of the things that we consider as, you know, South Asian foods, Indian food, for example, like naan came in via the Mughals, and ras malai, and a bunch of the things we think are Indian food are actually like Persian in origin. And similarly, like tomatoes and chilies came via trade with Mexico, like back in the day. And so it's just really cool also thinking about what is the origin of food, where did it come from, how did it become, and just how the world's history through food is so interconnected.
Thank you for sharing that. And you're right. Like, food is dying, but food is living. And it's always changing.
I want to continue the convo between the people that came and spoke. We were talking about what is pre and post colonial and like what belongs to a particular group. And something I've been thinking about recently is what is the group? You know what I mean? Like, who is we? Yeah. Is it a state belonging to a state, being a citizen? Is it belonging to an ethnic group? And is the ethnic group defined by the state? And how recent are the states? Like, maybe 1,500 years ago, you would have more closely identified with your like particular village, or like maybe your practice, or maybe your migratory group, or maybe your friends, and same now, you know what I mean? So just a little anarchy droplet there.
Thank you, Droplet.
Yeah, and that actually really made me think about when you just said that, like about even caste, because as like an upper caste person, I don't know what a lot of South Asian food is, and just a nod to what Elka said, like what is South Asian food when peppers and tomatoes came from Mexico, right? Like, and then also from the level of caste, I think it's really important to name that I have literally zero experience with understanding any differences in food based on that. And maybe there aren't big ones. I have no idea. And I just realized my lack of awareness around that. So I just wanted to name it.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you for naming it and also just bringing the word caste into the conversation. I think as South Asians, it's so easy to just not talk about it. Mm-hmm. And so I'm glad we're naming it right now. I actually did watch a little Instagram reel about, similar to the Americas, about how there is a class related to what food ingredients you have access to and how that shapes cuisine. There is a similar thing that happens in India related to caste. Yeah, very powerful. Really appreciate the conversation. I think it can keep going.
Yeah, I don't mind. Does someone else? Yeah.
I was going to talk about something totally different, but on food and caste, a lot has to do with access, and then the idea of like demonizing certain people and groups and what they have access to and need to eat, and how religion comes into that. Jainism, Hinduism, meat, root vegetables, cow. So there's a lot there. What I wanted to share and uplift was thank you for sharing about your weekend. Happy birthday, happy born day. And just being able to share in the experience of 1314 Black and brown queer trans community on the land, and how you shared the experience of moving through that with grief, with sadness, but also being in Sangha and community that had so much skill and grace in moving through that experience is really powerful, was really powerful for me to hear, because of how much state-sponsored violence we're experiencing right now and how hope and despair are living like side by side, hand in hand. And just the reminder that I have to tell myself hope is going to take care of my despair. It's not going to ameliorate it, get rid of it, but the ecosystem within myself is set up to care for me. And like I have a system of care within myself that then I can keep tapping into to be a part of the communities and do the movement work that we want to do. And to have that experience happen to you and for you to share about it with us, Opulence, is like so meaningful. And just the grief around your parents and what you don't know but suspect is a loss for them that turned into grief for you was so relatable. So I just want to also mirror that back when we think about our mental health histories, what we do or don't know about our families. And I carry a lot of grief in the not knowing. And so it's just so powerful to like sit in a space where that's acknowledged. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Such a beautiful comment. I didn't know that South Asians are I think something like 20 times more likely to have diabetes because we survived so many famines. So I think it is kind of powerful for us to be here talking about food. And it's also the history that doesn't get spoken, because I think I came into that awareness because of Palestine, actually, and feeling so much emotion around the famines. And my friend actually saying to me, that happened to your people. And I was like, I didn't know. I really didn't know, and I really didn't understand how that shapes my body today. And I think I've had a continued experience growing up in the South of having a racialized body, partially because of fatness, partially because of being bearded, right? And how that separates me from the traditional South Asian experience and the insight that brings to me about oppression, that there has never been the pathway to like buy into capitalism, to buy into an oppressive power system. It's just not been available to me. And I kind of have, there's a lot of grief around it. It's like, oh, okay, I'll never have a corporate job and like, I'll never just have some of these perks I see the people around me with, but I will always, I think like in other ways I'm like, oh, but I have my soul. And like I've embraced my authenticity in a way that I see people avoiding their whole lives. That must be so sad for them. But I can't relate.
But that's true. I worked in corporate. That's pretty spot on.
You're so sweet, Nisha.
Just saying.
But I also really appreciate you just naming how powerful it is to hear the story of the weekend and bringing it into this conversation space. You know, a few years ago, in my little K-Town apartment, it got to be like 116. And I remember I prepared and I made a hibiscus peppermint tea and I took ice baths. And I was like, wow, I survived a climate change event through my own knowledge and power. And it just helped me feel more powerful in the face of great change and loss. I think sometimes the state feels so powerful and just like it feels impossible to go up against them. But this weekend taught me that they're really fragile. And while they may have me out-resourced right now, it's only a matter of time. And you know what I kept saying all weekend, and it's probably why I got in trouble a little, is I kept saying like, white supremacy better be scared, because we're coming. You know what it is. I'm going to pass you the mic for that laugh. I'm going to need it again.
I think it's time, yeah?
Okay. I'm gonna start with menopause because child, it's a whole thing. So I love when it gets talked about because it doesn't. Why? Because it's such a big deal. Like it's like, how do we get out of bed in the morning? Because we don't like people. We don't like to do anything. Everything's uncomfortable. It doesn't work. Life doesn't work. And so how can we be expected to be amazing? But we do. And it really makes me appreciate our journey, you know, even more, because I was just like, yeah, because it impacts every part of your psyche, and so I really appreciate you naming that. And yeah, you know, I was on the trip with my dear sibling. I was there the day before, and we made prayers to the river. We made offerings to the river, and that's really important in all of this. You know, I made offerings all around that campground. They may or may not have known that, to hold the space, and the space was held even though the incident happened. What I want to say is that nature is one of our strongest allies, and the fact that you like kept talking to, you know, the river, kept talking to Oshun, and you know that the earth is going to come back, and there will be a reconciling of what happened. Yes, I do believe this. This is also grounded in the African spirituality. I love that you're composting. I believe that because there's unending grief, because there's all this violence, and the idea of the composting and putting things back into the ground is that the ground is fertile. is fertile for the things that we need. They have to be transmuted so that grief, the violence, the pain, all of it goes into it. Get it out of us, put it somewhere, and then we harness it and use it as a weapon, but also use it to shape this new world, this new thing that we're trying to make. And so, yes, I'm really impacted, even though I wasn't there for what happened. But I also look at where we are. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And so what I believe that the state doesn't count on, and I talk about this a lot with my friends, is, because I'm Black, we're an improvisational people. We have a saying, we make a way out of no way. And that's how we've been able to survive, like these, the slavery and the kidnapping, all of those things. And I feel like that's what the state doesn't count on. State doesn't count on this incredible curator of this incredible Pleasure Fest experience to keep going and have another incredibly curated podcast live LA, the second to third event that, since they don't count on that. They want you to go home. They want you to be depressed and fall apart. That's not what's happening. It may be happening, but it's also how we connect with each other. The fact that we name the thing, we share the thing, we heal from the thing. This is how we heal from the thing, is we come even closer together. We get closer. That's how we beat the thing. So that's what I want to say.
Yes.
Oh my God, that was awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was super powerful, and it's just making me think about the different ways we have talked about the earth and the body together, and the ways that there's not just reciprocity with it, but also that it's enough. And I think what the state and capitalism relies on is us never feeling enough. What this person who terrorized you and the cops rely on is telling you and making you, gaslighting you into believing you're not enough because of their own fragility. Mm-hmm. And I've been thinking about this concept of enoughness and scarcity a lot, especially in relation to the earth, because there is enough. And there's enough in our bodies, like how you talked about the tears. Bringing that, why isn't that enough, But we can't, that can't be capitalized on, then suddenly it's a problem. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's beautiful how this has all come together. And then as we're talking about food, what nourishes our bodies and literally actually feeds us and creates our bodies. And I think you'd said something earlier about the shape, how this stuff has shaped me and literally shaping our bodies, right? Diabetes,
the shape of our body.
Famine, all these things literally shape our bodies. So yeah, that was such a beautiful bridge so thank you for building that.
Yeah. As we're talking, something that I want to name, I'll hearken to my anarchist brother Paradise, is India is such a new nation state. And nation states as a thing are new. And when we ask, who is the we? It's the bigger the we, the bigger it's I'm this nation state, the more delusional it is to me, right? I think my we is this room. And just to remember, for me to remember that India is kind of the same age as my parents. It's very young. This idea of this giant nation that represents all of us, so new. We were so tribal before. And I think its newness helps me know that it's not tested technology, right? It's new. I also just want to share, Iatunde, that it's interesting, when we were harassed and being forcibly escorted off this land, I think they were mad that we kept laughing and that we listened to music. They came back. they were like, we hear your guys are still naked. We heard you were naked 20 minutes ago. And it was like, babe, you're watching us? Like, do you want to date? Like, want to go study? You're watching me? But yeah, they were like, you guys are naked and you're partying. And it was like, okay. But what I realized was they wanted us to be humiliated and they wanted to actually feed on our frantic energy. And when they couldn't, they just got more jealous. But I so love the resilience of our crew because even in the face of pressure, of threat of incarceration, pressure that they hope will split us apart, pressure they hope to push us in to think about our individual safety, to abandon the group. When we didn't succumb to that, we created a container and we made offerings before we left. So even as the cops are driving around us, saying, you aren't leaving fast enough, we're gonna charge you, my friends still created a bowl of fruit. Still took time to gather charcoal. And we still took time to go to the river and pray and offer, even as we're surrounded by cops threatening us. And then we took a group photo, guys.
Yes.
And we look really good. So I think that I think as I build narrative around what happened, and I'm so grateful to the stage because what we had planned, I actually don't even know the full meal we had planned because I was such a passenger princess this camping trip. And that's what I'm really mad about. But I know that there was an incredible dinner planned and we were supposed to have a talent show. And the whole weekend, the river was telling me what to say at the talent show. We were collaborating and I was building this speech and I was planning to introduce everyone. And for the talent show to not happen was so heartbreaking to me. But I had to remind myself something I learned earlier this year, which is a rescheduling is not a cancellation. And just to understand it's not the right time, but then to also have had this stage pre-prepared. We had already been planning to do this, and to have a stage where people are putting in such effort and time and expertise and money and equipment and coordination to record my voice. I was like, wow, this is truly a gift from the universe and shows our power. I know I've already shared with people in here, but I have come up with some rituals to transmute what happened. I want to harvest clay and hand make some thin breakable pottery with my friends. And I want us to paint the pottery together. And then I want us to have a heartbreak ceremony where we take the pottery to the ocean and just lay it in the waves and let the ocean destroy it while we cry. Very dramatic.
So dramatic.
But I also fantasize about, somehow finding a way to book all the campsites on the campground. To get some white people to be security up front. George, where are you? And, to George and Chris, y'all will hold it down for us. And to maybe even get stipends to bring more cutie BIPOC to the water. So, yeah, I don't know what will come next, but I know it's not over. There's a lot coming forward. So thank you all for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for sharing that. And I am going to be supporting any effort for that to happen.
Thank you. Okay, guys, so I don't know if there's more people to share. I always do this practice where I just count to 20.
Okay.
For there to be any voice. I count slowly in my head. I learned this when I did group therapy for teenagers. So I'm just going to count to 20, and if anyone wants to step forward, I still have a mic, okay? Wow, with that helicopter outside. I'm surveillance is real, guys.
Yeah, I know.
They want to come to the party.
Okay, here, I'll just.
Yay, love.
Yeah.
This was really cool. So thank you for sharing. This was a beautiful way to. Y'all talked about so much in such a graceful way. Love and grief, Palestine, war, white supremacy. So many words that just I feel it's well, what? like, what's going on, or are you okay? And that's kind of what when he first told me, I was like, I'm so glad you're here, you know? Things can change in an instant, and you seemed like you were supported by love, and seemed like you were protected too. Anyway, that's not even why I came on here to say. What I came on here to say was, I just wanted to, since y'all were naming things, you know, I just wanted to name one of like the devils of like the food injustice, why we're in such a shitty situation right now, is this company called Monsanto. And look them up, boycott everything they're doing. I don't know, send hate mail to their corporation. They really fucked us up in our entire agricultural system, where we don't have the corn, we don't have the mangoes, we don't have the bananas that are actually what they're supposed to be, and really monopolize the system. So just wanted to name that and put that out there.
No, thank you for naming that, Lo, because when I was a young person, I had the good fortune of meeting Vaishna Shiva, who's an incredible agriculturist. And she taught me a couple things. She was like, look at the people whose knowledge is disrespected, who everyone says they're stupid. Farmers, women, those are the wisest people. And she talked about how we have to watch Monsanto. We have to watch Coca-Cola. We have to watch Nestle. We cannot take our eyes off of these people. We have to watch what they're doing, and we have to yell about it. And we have to say, like, Monsanto is breaking rules because they rely on us to not notice. And that's why they give us Instagram, which uses, like, casino technology to get us to doom scroll, right? They're feeding us addiction at every turn. And that is why so much of my work personally that I do with others, it's about, like, how do we resist addiction? Not in a shame-based way, but just, like, how do we gather capacity to fight back? Because it does take energy, and we can't do it alone. I also wanted to share, and I'm glad you talked about the power that, like, when this was all happening with the cops, I had literally just had one of the most powerful meditations of my life, connecting with the river. And it completely changed my orientation towards nature. I think I have always felt secretly shameful or worried or scared. And in that moment, I realized that, like, I truly am nature, and I am deserving of nature's love. The earth does not see me as an enemy, you know, but, like, I am her child. And so when all of this happened, I actually wasn't scared at all. To the point that, like, today, I look back on it, and I'm like, girl, you were doing what? Like, you know, I look back on those hours, but I, in the moment, was actually so confident in my rootedness and protection that I did not feel fear. Yeah, and I think when I look at people around me who I see this vibration in, some in this room, I notice that they're very targeted. People are very jealous, but extremely protected, extremely resourced. Somehow always coming out on top. I don't know how. But here we are. Here I am on the stage, right? And it sometimes I think about my own life. When all this happened, I was wearing a really good green dress. Very mossy. Sometimes I just take a moment to be like, wow, you really walk around in a dress with a beard in a culture that is, like most recently, the president has been like, that's illegal. Like, that's crazy that I do that, guys. Thanks for letting me do it. Yeah. Where are you in your 20 count?
12?
Okay, let's keep going. Okay, I think everything has been shared. Yes. Thank you all so much for being here and listening. Yay, we did it. Oh, thank you, Lily. Okay, yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you did it.
Earthworm Slumber Party is hosted by Opulence Abundance and Nisha Modi, edited and scored by Adrian Garba, and produced by Dalia Gehan.